What up? It's Jimmy from odds.com. This is a clip from our big NCAA basketball show. To check out the entire show, hit the link at the bottom of the screen. It's available exclusively on odds.com. We move on to the A10, 6 p.m. Eastern. We have Richmond Spiders, 9-4, 3-2 in the A10 at St. Joseph's Hawks, 1-12, 0-7 in the A10. We're at Michael J. Hagan 85 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Our second stop in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to start Max's card. Richmond opening up as 11-point favorites. That's moved to 10.5 at a couple books. This total has stuck at the 155 opener that Bet365 brought it to. And maybe I should switch my opening book here, but that's what we're using, Bet365 openers at this point. Richmond came off their second COVID break, this one for 14 days, with just an awful performance in an 84-78 loss at home versus LaSalle as 14.5-point favorites. They allowed LaSalle to shoot 57.1% from the field, 52.9% from three in the loss. Senior Grant Golden had another strong game, 22.6 boards, 4 assists. He fills the stat sheet every night, averaging 15.3 points, 6.5 boards, 3.6 assists. Leading scorer Blake Francis went for 21 points. He averages 16.5 on the season. Richmond shoots the ball well and takes care of it. They hit 48.2% from the field, 34.6% from three, 73.8% from the foul line. You mix that with a team that only turns the ball over 10.7 times a game, you get a tough team to beat. St. Joseph's coming off their fourth straight loss, 71-62 at home to George Mason on Saturday afternoon. They only turned the ball over 7 times, but were done in by shooting 35.2% from the field, 26.9% from three. Ever since they lost Ryan Daly to a foot injury, and he's continually listed was questionable, continually listed as questionable. He's now listed as doubtful. He's been out for a long time. He was somebody that Max talked about and believed in the Ryan Daly Taylor Funk offensive opportunities and possibilities that the two possessed when on the court together. 6'8 junior Taylor Funk averages 16.8 points, 5.7 boards. But since losing Ryan Daly, they found it much more difficult to score. Sophomore guard Jack Forrest has become a legitimate second option, 11.2 points per game. They average 41.4% from the field, 30% from three, 69.8% from the foul line. Max, here we go. Richmond Spiders, St. Joseph's Hawks.
Yeah, Jim, I think that with Richmond, what we saw from that game against LaSalle was absolutely pathetic. When they came out of halftime and allowed 45 points and had a 7-point scoring margin that second half, I was disgusted for the Spiders. That kind of loss in conference is the type that the committee remembers and takes out on you in March. So I think that Richmond really needs to get back on the horse, and I think that they need to win a game with some style points. They cannot have another lackluster defensive performance, and let's be brutally honest about it, their 2-point defense just hasn't been adequate so far this year, and you could really put that on the fact that Nick Sherrard and Connor Crabtree just haven't been in the lineup because they're injured. I think that with this Richmond team, they do have advantages on paper and by the stats. I think that when you look at Richmond, they are road tested. They have won against teams by margin, specifically their last road game against George Mason that they won by 20 points and did not allow George Mason to get even to 60. I think that with St. Joe's, this is a team that's really had to reinvent themselves with Taylor Funk being the primary offensive source and Jordan Hall really being that swing athletic guy that can go coast to coast and score from multiple levels. While he's not doing it at the efficiency that one would want and hope for, it does give them a good foundation at home. Unfortunately, the home games for them have been a little come see, come saw. So I think that with St. Joe's, the part that I like best about them at home, I think that the comfortability of them being in their own arena helps. I can't quantify that or prove that. I watch a lot of games and I see the difference in play based on where they're playing. I think that with St. Joe's, this is a team that probably is catching Richmond at a bad time. I think that the line moving towards St. Joe's is definitely something that I expected. But I still think that Richmond's in a spot where they got to come out and win. They got to come out and win big. The total is where I like a play most. I know that this is St. Joe's team that can get up and down. We've seen Richmond's defense struggle and be vulnerable. I think though in this game tomorrow, we're going to see St. Joe's struggle offensively, similar fashion to George Mason. We're going to see Richmond do enough to win this game by double digits. And I think that this game is staying under 155 or 155 and a half. I saw it open at circa at around 159. So I would have loved to get that number, but I can't bet there. And I think that when we look at this game, Jim, this is a game that Taylor Funk has to be stopped on the outside. Jordan Hall has to be stopped on the inside. And if you can do and accomplish both of those feats, this game's going to stay under, and you're probably going to win this game by margin.
So we start with the over. Do you also want Spiders full game?
The under.
Excuse me. Start with the under. Do you also want the Spiders full game?
Yes, I will take them full game.
All right. Well, let's line shop right now. And wow, all the way down to 154.5 at FanDuel. Over at Circa, we have 155 now. And at BetMGM, we have the hook, 155.5. So let's start there and get Max the under 155.5 at minus 110 at BetMGM. Then we found a 10.5. See if I can pull this here. Here. We have a 10.5 at PointsBet at minus 110. Let's see if Circa wants to mess with that. Circa's at 11. And FanDuel is at 10.5 as well. The FanDuel Spiders is at minus 115. And PointsBet is sitting at 110. So let's get Max. Oh, let me just see what Bet365, if they want to come in and help us out here. Oh, wow, they do. Look at here. Okay, here we go, Max. Richmond minus 10.5 at minus 105.
Sounds good to me, Jim.
All right, let's bag that. Minus 10.5, minus 105, available at Bet365. Beautiful. Beautiful, yeah. So that's the best opportunity for us.